Good morning. I'm Josh.
And I'm Layla.
And this is Jayla in the Morning.
In the morning.
So today we're going to talk about what is a good marriage.
Now, what is a good marriage?
Well, I mean, let's quantify this though too. I mean, because are we going to talk about an excellent marriage or maybe an awesome, extremely off the charts marriage, or are we or all of the above?
Right, because how you see a good marriage is different than how I see a good marriage.
Right, yeah, because I feel like maybe my standards aren't as high. And
aren't as high as whose standards?
As my beautiful wife's, because she excels in everything that she does and reads many books.
Thank you. Yes,
and I get to benefit from all of her book learning, but I also have my own way of learning, which, does involve books, but experience and
more hands-on experience.
Hands-on, yeah. Like I like talking to people. Like when we went to the premarital counseling, and they spoke to us. They gave us
and premarital.
Yeah, they gave us the disc profile to fill out. They gave us talked about the love languages, 5 love languages if you don't know. I learned that yours is acts of service and quality time.
I do love quality time.
And I think
I love it when Josh takes the trash out and does the dishes.
Right, that's examples of acts of service.
Starts my car for me.
Sure. Opens the door for you. That's maybe
not really good at that.
Well, I know that, but you like it. We're not talking about whether or not I'm great at it.
Well, we're in the sunny South, so it's just appropriate.
It's a Southern gentleman thing to do.
Yeah, but it fills my love tank more when you take the trash out or, make my kitchen experience a little easier, cleaning up after me.
Yeah, and then really hearing you, I think, and we learned how to mirror, which was, is great for...
Mirroring is great.
You getting that tank filled.
Yeah.
Where, I can really display that I'm hearing you by repeating back to you stuff that you said to me.
You repeat stuff back to me.
And you're doing it to me right now.
Yeah, it's good. It really does help me feel heard.
Yeah, and then you remember my love languages?
So you are a words of affirmation.
Yes.
And that's like when I tell you that I love you, I'm grateful for the things that you do, I acknowledge who you are, I think you're incredibly handsome, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness, and I appreciate the energy that you put into things. Yeah.
So we were taught too with the love languages that you can really tell what your spouse's language is by what they get offended by. And, like you just talked about how words of affirmations is mine. And so the opposite of that is anything like negative about me.
Yeah, if I get critical or if I do anything that would come across as tearing down, then it really takes the wind out of Josh's sail, and it's a signal to me that I've kind of crossed that line and not used a word of affirmation.
Sure, but it's also a very clear sign that is in fact my love language, because one word of discouragement or saying that I did something wrong can overpower 5, or I don't know what the math is,
21 or something.
Words
13, I don't know.
Of affirmation.
Yeah.
So we really need to be aware of those things that hurt our spouse, because I can tell too, I was trying not to do that just now, to not cut you off when you're saying something, to really listen, because when I do that, it hurts you deeply.
But when he actually listens, I feel like $1 million.
Right.
When he doesn't cut me off and it's like, oh, I gotta let her finish her thought, is what comes across to me. It's like, whew, oh man, I feel like he wants to know me, and I feel valued and appreciated when you just are a good listener.
Yeah. So I would say that learning your spouse is one of the biggest things that you can do to have a good marriage.
And I think with that too, is keeping open communication. And, whether you're newlywed or you've been married for years, sometimes that safe space of communication gets a little bit shut down. And so how to get back to trusting each other and feeling like it's okay to be open in a way that's not going to hurt the other person can be a delicate balance there. So if that's something you're struggling with, I just say keep going, because it's worth getting back to the doors of communication, being open and free flowing versus like, it'd be easy if I said something offensive for him to just cut me off and be like, I can't get away from me, right? Like I've had that happen. If I don't feel heard, I kind of clam up and shut down, and then it makes his job difficult to keep, the free flow of communication going.
Yeah. And what if I heard you right, you said, that we always want to make sure, and I put it in my own language, that it's safe for the other person to talk, to openly communicate.
Yeah, the safety is so important.
Right. It's one of the reasons we tend to promote the Space Between book by Harville Hendrix, because he really gives you, breaks down, detailed ways that you can create a safe space for your partner.
It gives like step-by-step, like reasonable ways to connect with your person in a way that is honoring and safe inside the conversation. Right.
So, if I were to dumb it down, I mean, for me as a man, I would just say, if I'm fed and I'm sexed and you say nice things about me, like I'm on top of the world. I feel great. Right.
But and for me, I need a little more quality time. I need a little more touch and tenderness that isn't necessarily sexual, but just affectionate, right? Those little, gentle touches, or, a little firm, securing touch that helps me to feel safe and wanted. Those touches are really important for me. And that helps me to ease into more conversation, even though, as a woman, I need like 4 times as many words as you. And to all my other sisters out there, roughing it through relationship is that, sometimes I'm grateful when Josh quiets the movie in his own mind to just hear what's going on in my heart, so that we can get to the bottom of maybe a tiff that we had or a conflict and work through it.
Yeah, and I would say that I just learned this morning too that I really do enjoy listening to you.
Sorry.
Yeah, especially.
You just learned this morning.
Well, no, okay, I mean like.
Sorry. He does enjoy listening to my 40,000 words.
Right. Whereas, like maybe, it didn't start off maybe that way, or maybe I didn't realize it. But
like I was taxing to listen to when he had something else going on in the back of your mind.
Well, possibly. I was thinking more of, like, I feel like the conversation between us has gotten more and more pleasant as we've learned each other.
Right.
That we know what our triggers are and we avoid those.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we try to be proactive because we are discovering what is a good marriage, so that we can avoid what the opposite looks like. What does it look like to be living with strife or discontentment, or what does it look like to be living with maybe some incompatibility, is the flip side of, hey, I want this. Hey, I'm committed to this. Hey, you are, my no matter what plan. I'm in this.
Well, yeah. And I love that we're committed to that. And if I could expound just a little bit on how I've learned that I really like to listen to you this morning. I was kind of like in the boat for a long time. Mark Gungor, he's a comedian that talks about laughing your way to a better marriage. And he...
YouTube, The Tale of Two Brains.
Yeah.
After this video. It's useful for a good laugh.
Yeah, we've definitely used a lot of his stuff to to make our marriage better.
It's also a couple hours, so make sure you have time.
But he said that, how the differences between men, like you said about you use a lot of words, maybe less words, though it sometimes comes across the opposite when we're doing the show. I feel like I have a lot to share sometimes. But that when you're upset at me and silent, a man might take that the wrong way and say, wow, there's finally peace. I'm alone with my thoughts
And there's a lot going on up there for her. A lot going on.
Right, but
beware of the silence, guys.
Yeah, and I really needed your feedback this morning on the thing that we were dealing with. But it took a little bit more asking on my part to get you to open up, and I could
stick up for what you needed.
Right, you were being a little bit more quiet this morning, and I really did need some help with that subject. And then when you opened up and started sharing how you felt about it, oh my goodness, it felt so good. Like you were really validating to me and how I was feeling in that moment, because a lot of the things that you said, just really assured me that I was thinking correctly about the situation.
And I think it's important that I was invited to share, because I had thoughts, but sometimes when we invite the other person to share, it's really validating. And it also says to them that we trust their opinion, we trust their take on things, and it builds a stronger foundation of love for each other when we do give genuine feedback on something, when we're invited to do that. And I felt invited, I felt valued, that like my particular take on the subject we were working through was helpful. Whether I thought it was or not, it was genuine.
Yeah. So I really appreciated that. What's our next thing?
Oh, so we had talked about like how we move forward, like in a healthy marriage. So I think you wouldn't be here if you didn't, want to improve. Like I'm constantly wanting to improve things, but once you get to a certain security level with your partner or spouse, how do we work on maintaining that? Like what do we keep in the forefront of our mind for what is a good marriage? We know that it requires open communication and keeping it open, making sure the other person feels safe to share their own thoughts and feelings without being judged. And how do we foster trust and make sure that we continue to take care of that I'm trustworthy, that you're trustworthy, and go forward with that? Because if that's not established, it's going to be very difficult to build on that foundation. And then having a genuine love and understanding with each other that requires patience. I like what it says in the good book, 1 Corinthians 13, the whole chapter about love and, having patience and kindness, and, that it's not just fancy words. It's actually like a roadmap for how to love someone successfully, because that's what we're after. It's not just a once and done, I need a little boost in my marriage. Marriage is not easy. It's not for the weak. It's difficult, but when you have tools that help you to love the other person effectively, because we're so different.
We are.
And how do we move forward? A good request that I received from Josh recently is, I want to be accepted for who I am. I need to be accepted, because there was some part of me that wanted to push him to be like me. Like I'm a level up. I always want to work on myself and self-improvement all day long. It's hard for me to just be like, okay, let's just veg out and coast for a little bit. To me, that feels like going backward. And so for Josh, he works really hard at certain things, but him working hard at certain things is not look like the way I work hard on certain things. And to be honoring of his
Otherness?
Your otherness, but also not try to make you like me or project my level, like you said, of what does a good marriage look like. So how do we move forward with that?
Yeah, I mean, because too, you might think that you want your spouse to be like you, to put on your shirt per se, but once they do, then you lose the attraction that you've built by them being themselves.
What do you mean by put on your shirt? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure, it means, if you would just,
Like, I don't think you'd fit into this one.
No.
No offense. It's a little bit tight on me.
None taken. But you'd probably like
Were you
me.
just checking me out?
Like me in it, right?
Oh yeah, the muscles would burst out. Okay, that wasn't what you were talking about.
No, it wasn't. I was talking about the figurative shirt.
That says, be like me.
That says, I'm Layla, right?
Oh, like a...
Or I'm Josh.
Okay, like a
Right?
stunt double.
Right, so if I'm trying to get you to put on the I'm Josh shirt, it don't fit you.
No, it's going to be too big.
You're not Josh.
No.
You're Layla.
Yeah, I got more hair than you.
And vice versa.
Right.
Yeah. So that attraction that brought us together in the first place is we are different. Each one of us has something that the other doesn't have.
Right.
And that causes attraction. But when we get deep into a marriage, we start to think that we want the spouse to be the same as us. And that's destructive.
Right. It's not going to go anywhere. That kind of leads to the point I wanted to make. So what if you're already in a marriage and you feel like you're kind of polarizing, you're kind of starting to live separate lives, but you sleep in the same house. Hopefully you still sleep in the same bed. So like, how do you move forward? Like, you can tell our energy is similar. Like, we're committed, we want to work on this, and we love to help support other people in the marriage communities that want to have healthy, balanced relationships. So what if you're the one watching the video and your significant other or your spouse doesn't have any interest? So what? Now what? And I just want to encourage you with that approach. So what? Now what? The past is in the past. There's lots of things that we cannot change, and to have some peace around that. But today, when you're watching this, the so what, now what approach is going to be important we can't change the rubble of the past, right? We are a byproduct of our decisions.
Oprah said it couldn't have happened any other way.
Well,
sorry if I threw you off
okay,
there.
that threw me off a little bit. But I like the solution-minded note we had made to ourselves about staying focused. Like, if today was the only day they had to work on their marriage, what would make it good if they were struggling?
What would make it good if they were struggling? If today was the only day they had to work on their marriage?
Yeah.
Create a safe place to communicate. That's, I think, number one.
And how would we do that?
To honor what the other person is thinking or feeling.
Right.
And really listen to it.
Maybe even invite them to share what's going on. Like, what's on your heart?
Yes. Ask follow-up questions. Is there more around that?
Yeah. It's a magical question.
Right. Because that gets the person thinking.
Right.
Because maybe they don't know why they feel a certain way.
Right.
And why something rubbed them the wrong way.
Right.
Until you ask them.
Right.
Is there more?
Right. But please don't spend your precious time and energy focusing on the problem. It's easy to see what the problem is. But the way out and the quicker to like peace and harmony with each other is being solution minded. Being willing to come to the table with, hey, that was a tough one. Ooh, we're breaking apart. Like, ooh, acknowledge where you're at. But then brainstorm some solutions.
Right.
How do we want to go? Where do we want to go from here? What is a possible solution so that we're not staying in this storm of blame and shame and hurt and pain and
That's exactly where my mind went, the blame and the shame part, because it's a very important piece of sharing with your spouse to own your own feelings.
Right. Yeah.
And not put them on your spouse to
Right.
say, you caused these feelings. Right. They didn't.
Right. Using the statements like, ooh, when I heard that, I felt like this. You know, what was going on inside of me looked like this. Maybe use some word pictures like it was a roller coaster, or, you know, the storm started happening, or I started feeling pain when I heard this. And not, why didn't you, or you should have, right? Like that. Sometimes our brains tempt us to want to use language because it was their action that inspired this emotional response. But it's up to us on how we're going to articulate what's going on inside of us. For me, you know, what's going inside of me, and say, ooh, when I heard that, I felt like this.
Right. Because as soon as you point the finger and say that you hurt me, then the other person is going to get defensive.
Right. It breaks down the safe space. There's no more, the conversation can't go anywhere after that.
But if you own your feelings and say, I felt this way when this happened, then your partner can come alongside you and empathize with the way that you're feeling.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
Yeah. So those are just some of the few things that we've learned about what it takes to have a good marriage. And, you know, maybe we haven't reached excellent yet, but we're working our way there. And I think that's the most important part, is to keep putting in the work. Yeah. Whatever resources you need to get, whatever conversations you need to have, keep putting in the work.
And just, we're with you to seeing a truly extraordinary marriage, not just a vanilla, not just struggling to get by, but where we actually experience joy and peace, and we stay in a harmonious balance with each other, because that is where life happens.
That's where joy happens. That's where we become fully alive.
Yeah, we get a lot more done that way.
Absolutely.
And we stay present with each other.
Yeah, when our needs are met in our marriage, that allows us to go and do greater things.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we ready to land this plane?
Let's land it.
All right. If you benefited from today, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't even care if you turn on the notifications, because you don't maybe need one more notification. But when you subscribe, I found out that more people watch than are actually subscribed. Then you get a little bit of when you're ready to come back to the channel to see what was the latest tip, you know, what is some encouragement to you when you're on the path to well-being in marriage and you want to see just marriage improvements in your marriage grow. So make sure to subscribe. If you want to turn on notifications, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. And please share this with your friends or family members, post it on Facebook, wherever you want to. We just want to continue to help people experience what a truly good, valuable, balanced marriage looks like. So that's it for today.
See ya.